Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Recapping Space and Time. I am none other than your friendly neighborhood soda of Gallifrey, joined by the Doctor, Ben Rayner, and joined by 50 Shades of TARDIS. How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Tonight 50. For us, tomorrow morning for you, 50.
Yeah, something like that. And wouldn't you know it, 50 Shades of TARDIS has 3 TARDISes.
Nice.
Ready and waiting.
I haven't get mine. I want to get one somehow.
I have the TARDIS desk lamp that they released during the Matt Smith era. A friend of mine got it for my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But as you can see, we are here to discuss Doctor Who right now, and we are discussing the first season of David Tennant, who is arguably he's arguably the greatest Doctor, one of the greatest Doctors to ever grace us with his presence. Ben, I'm going to bring this to you first because this is your first time watching the Tennant stuff, correct? Yeah. What are your thoughts on David Tennant so far?
I like him a lot. I think I'm like you. I came in with Matt Smith, but I see why everybody loves Tennant. Like, Matt Smith will always be my favorite, but Tennant does have that X factor that makes him so fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed about this season in particular so far is the music. It's a lot of, like, I don't hate music, but it's kind of like pirate music mixed in with space and time. It's really fun and adventurous and swashbuckling, which I love. And I see David Tennant is a lot more physical action than Christopher Eccleston was.
Mm-hmm. Where do you stand on 50 when it comes to David Tennant?
I mean, I've said this once, I've said this a billion times, and I continue to say it. It's not only my favorite Doctor, I contend it's the best Doctor of all time. And I'm speaking of someone who's seen all of them and loves all of them. Mm-hmm. He's clearly the best of the bunch. And it's funny you mentioned how he's got that X factor, Ben, because he's the 10th Doctor. X. Yeah. But so it weirdly makes sense that way.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like Ben, it was Matt Smith that introduced me, that hooked me. Matt Smith is my Doctor, but David Tennant always gives it a run for his money. Always.
Yeah, I mean, it's often said that the first Doctor you are exposed to is your best.
You always remember your first Doctor.
Yeah, you never forget your first. And even David Tennant himself said it a bunch of times. His first Doctor was Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Who was his favorite. And then, similar to what happened to me with Matt Smith, where as soon as the Doctor changed and switched into Peter Davison, then Peter Davison became his favorite Doctor. It's kind of weird to think about.
The point that he married his daughter.
I was going to bring that up, and it's also kind of weird that also years later in this very particular season we're going to discuss right now, he actually got to do a lot of scenes with the Fourth Doctor's first companion, which is Sarah Jane Smith, Elizabeth Sladen. May she rest in peace.
Yes, may she rest in peace. Yeah, I know we're definitely gonna be talking about that episode today. I know it.
I couldn't guarantee it.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, because normally it's just me and Ben doing this, but because 50 is joining us for on this travel through time and space, we're gonna do something a little different. So Ben and I, as usual, we're gonna be rattling off our top 5. We're all gonna discuss it, but at the very end, 50 is gonna reveal his top 5, and we're gonna see who matched up the best with 50.
Yep.
Okay, so the Doctor with the apropos name, you're kicking it off,
Dr. Ben.
Yeah.
I guarantee it because my number 5 is that episode, the small reunion.
Yeah, that's a punt.
Of course it is.
I'm initiated, Master.
Okay, so my number 5 is the girl in the fireplace.
On my honorable mention. Wait, no.
Okay, so this is the 4th episode of the
No,
second
I'm
series.
sorry. That is my number 4. That is my number 4.
Okay, then.
Then we just talk about it
We'll
because
just
it's
talk
yeah.
about it. Yeah, so this is the 4th episode of the season. Well, actually, we're going to call it series. We're going to do the traditional BBC thing. It says season, we're going to call it series. So this is, you might as well get into character, Ben. I saw you roll your eyes.
I'm sorry. I'm American. I'm the only American here. We call them seasons.
Hey, man,
Crying out
you
loud.
dominate every other form of entertainment in the world. You hush.
yeah. And also, just to be fair, the classic Who series called them seasons. It's only
exactly.
the modern.
The series is more of a modern thing, but that's just how they are referred to now. So just might as well stick with it. Call it season if you want. I'm going to call it series. Same difference. Okay.
Okay.
A problem causes the Doctor, Rose, and Mickey. Oh, that's the wrong episode. That's the one after. The Doctor, Rose, and Mickey arrive on an abandoned spaceship which contains several time windows into the life of Madame de Pompadour, known as Renette. Actually, Madame de Pompadour is a real person, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Doctor first enters her bedroom through an 18th century fireplace when she is 7 years old. Not creepy at all. And saves her from a clockwork man, which has hidden under her bed. On the ship, the Doctor and his companions discover more time windows into Renette's life and see that the clockwork droids continue stalking her, but do not consider her complete. The Doctor discovers that the ship's human crew have died out and the droids have recycled some of their organs for use in the ship, but still need Renette's brain to be fully functional. The brain must be 37 years old, the age of the ship. The ship is actually named after Madame de Pompadour. The Doctor manages to arrive at her 37th birthday costume ball and save her from the droids, who shut down because they have no way of returning to their ship. This is, you know what this is? This is a love story for the Doctor.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mind that.
And played by David Tennant's girlfriend at the time.
No shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was his girlfriend at the time. So
That
helped with the chemistry.
Yeah, that's why they had a great night.
And off camera, that was when the first series of David Tennant action figures showed up as the Doctor. And she said in an interview once that she's going to have an action figure of him in her purse the entire every day.
Nah, I wonder if that's still the case.
I don't know.
No, this episode has this fun moments. You get to see some jealousy from Rose because obviously she's in love with the Doctor. You get the randomness of a horse on a spaceship. Do you remember the horse's name is called 50?
Arthur.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I
I can keep Mickey.
Yeah, I was about to say that line. It's like Rose, like, we can't have a horse on the ship on the TARDIS. Why not? I let you keep Mickey.
Yeah.
Poor Mickey.
It's not like there's any lack of space on that ship.
I always wondered, how big is it? Is it infinite?
50 could probably answer this way better than I could. I know there's a bunch of rooms.
No one really gave a definitive answer. I mean, obviously, since they're bigger than the inside, it can go on forever. But the TARDIS has been explored multiple times in episodes.
Yeah.
No one really knows how big. I don't even think the Doctor does. And also, the ship kind of changes all the time.
This is jumping forward a little to Matt Smith, but there is an episode, I can't remember which series it is, but they do have Explorer getting lost on the ship.
Well, one of my
Journey to the Center of TARDIS.
That's the one.
In a Christmas special with Capaldi, one of my favorite moments is it was when what's her name? Riversong didn't know who Capaldi was. So he went into the TARDIS pretending to be a visitor. And acting like that, if you remember that.
Yeah, what is that? The many husbands.
Because he wanted someone to do it the proper way, according to him.
That's
he wanted to have his go at it. Yeah.
But in a Fourth Doctor episode, speaking of the Fourth Doctor, the Invasion of Time, I believe, is the name. They go into the TARDIS and they go deep into the. Remember how a lot of the Matt Smith era, Matt Smith mentions there is a swimming pool.
Yeah,
they go into the swimming pool.
They
actually go into the swimming pool. There's like a sick bay inside the TARDIS. Yeah, the TARDIS is massive,
Huh.
but no one really knows exactly how big.
Well, you get back to the episode. One of my favorite. Well, one thing that brought me into this show is time travel. I'm a big fan of time travel. And this episode, Crew in the Fireplace, had a lot of time travel in it, and I
Yeah.
really dug that a lot.
Yeah, me too. And I like how you could tell that there is the connection between the characters, but they can never get it right. Because
Yeah.
as soon as he leaves, he's gone for 2 minutes, but in her world, it could be 10 years.
It reminded me of something, but I can't remember what. What the hell? So that's my number 4. That's your number 5, my number 4. What's your number 3?
No, now it's my number
Number
4.
four.
Yeah, number 4. I'm sorry, man.
So it is actually the one I almost read the synopsis for. It is the 2-parter, Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel.
That is my number 3.
Of course it is.
That's a very
We're going to get you to bed pretty quick.
apparently
Okay, so this
these are being so similar to each other.
This is the very next episodes. So in the first part, a problem causes the Doctor, Rose, and Mickey to reach a parallel universe in which most of the people of London wear ear pods that feed information directly into the wearer's brain, and Rose's father, Pete, is still alive. The ear pods are designed by John Lumick, who is trying to give them an upgrade, which will ultimately turn the humans into Cybermen. Though he has not received permission to do this, he has been abducting and converting numerous homeless people. Mickey is mistaken for his parallel universe self, Ricky, and is taken by Jake Simmons, a member of a gang called the Preachers, who are aware of the dangers of the earpods. Cybermen begin attacking at the parallel universe Jackie's birthday party, at which the Doctor and Rose are posing as waiters. They, along with Pete, escape and run into Mickey and the Preachers, but the Cybermen close in on them. Continuing into the next episode, escaping from the Cybermen, the group go to Battersea Power Station, where Lumick uses a transmitter to control London's earpod-wearing population and send them to be converted into Cybermen. On the way, Ricky is killed by the Cybermen. The group splits into 3 smaller groups to stop the conversion. Eventually, Mrs. Moore is killed, and the Doctor, Rose, and Pete are captured by the Cybermen and taken to Lumick, who has become the Cyber Controller. Mickey and Jake disable the transmitter on the Zeppelin, freeing the humans which had not been converted. Mickey hacks Lumick's database to find the code to cancel every Cyberman's emotional inhibitor and send it to Rose's phone. The Doctor plugs the phone into his computer systems, which changes the signal and sends the Cybermen into disrepair. They escape the exploding factory on the Zeppelin, and Pete cuts the ladder Lumick is climbing up, sending him to his death. Mickey decides to stay and help fix the parallel universe with Jake, as he understands Rose prefers the Doctor. This was a great reintroduction of the Cybermen into the modern Who, and they threw in the wrinkle that they are man-made.
Yeah, because in the original Doctor Who timeline, they were created on Earth's twin planet, known as Mondas, which is basically, if you look at it, it's planet Earth upside down, just inverted. And the reason why it's called the 10th planet, it is the 10th planet in our solar system. Just the Cybermen have gone way in advance to the point where they were able to use the entire planet as like a traveling space, like the Death Star. They just pulled out the core of the planet and turned it into a giant engine to travel the stars and upgrade themselves. And the whole, again, it goes back into a point with Doctor Who, just like the first time you ever see the Daleks in Classic Who, that is officially their last story because they all die there. That's like years and years and years and centuries in the future. Same thing kind of goes for the Cybermen. That is the episode where Mondas dies. That is the first and last episode where we actually get to see that planet. But it also introduces the Cybermen. And this episode, sorry, I'm going to get this right. Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel is a sort of soft adaptation of the audio drama Spare Parts, which is the 5th Doctor story, which kind of chronicles the origin of the Cybermen. It's basically similar in plot. And we get to see how the Cybermen in the main universe came to be. Now, obviously, it was retcon years later in the Capaldi era, but that's beside the point. So that's just
what I was going to ask, because in here it is introduced that they are human made, and you said originally they were from Mondas, which I did kind of know. But this is what I don't know. Going forward, outside of their next appearance in the David Tennant era, is it still this version of the Cybermen that we are encountering, or is it the originals?
See, in the Matt Smith era, and the first time the Cybermen appear in that, well, actually the second time, because the Cybermen have like a minor cameo in the finale of the first Matt Smith series, but when they next appear, then when they have a full-on Cybermen episode, you'll notice that I believe it's the same exact model of Cyberman without the Lumic Cybers logo on the chest.
Okay.
So it's the main ones. Speaking of which, in the second Doctor story, The Invasion, the Cybermen kind of invaded Earth through a tech company called International Electromatics, which is the name of the shell company that Lumic uses to kidnap the homeless people.
Huh. I didn't pick up on that.
I believe in our last recap episode, I mentioned that they were going to reference it, but I didn't specify what, because I was saving it for this to be a surprise.
So Ben, what do you think of this episode?
Evidently, I love it. I mean, I haven't one lower than you. It's great. I never realized how intimidating the Cybermen were.
Mm-hmm.
So all these villains I'm finding are way more intimidating than I thought.
Yeah, you just looking at a picture of them, you're sometimes, especially the classier ones, they're like, that kind of looks a little goofy, but then when you see them in action, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, and I would argue that these versions of the Cybermen are scarier than the Matt Smith era Cybermen. Even though the Matt Smith era are more advanced and they can do more things, here it's just the pure intimidation factor that really sells the characters.
Yeah, exactly. We do get that a little later. Now, here's a trivia question for you: the actor who plays Lumic? Where else do you recognize him from?
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
That he played Senior.
David Tennant's dad in that movie.
David Tennant's dad in that.
You're not privy to this, but me and Ben actually had a conversation with Ryan and Aaron about this backstage on Match Moda just a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, we went through all this.
You suck. Okay, so
I know. I'm sorry.
So that was my number 4, which is also your number 3.
Yeah.
So my number 3 then, if this is another one, I'm gonna fucking. It's the 2-part finale, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday.
Well, that's cut. It's not my number. It's not my next one, but it is.
It's your number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, we could go to one of Ben's. Then, what is your number 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the first one, in the first adventure with Rose and Tennant off order, and then the return of Cassandra, and the hospital and cat people. No figure. And and may I say, the cat people in this look so much better than the cat people in that god-awful looking Cats movie.
Oh.
Don't want to watch that.
I had that given from the trailer. It's like, yeah.
Guess who actually went inside in the theaters, Ben?
Why?
I don't know. It seemed
your mom
like no. I went alone. It seemed like one of those. It looks so bad. It has to be good. Proven wrong in such a spectacular way that day.
You were high in the hookah, weren't you?
No. It was a completely conscious decision, and to be honest, I was pretty much the only one who saw it because there were these 2 girls who were there with me in the theater, and they left after 5 minutes.
Ouch!
They just got up and left.
Ugh. Okay, so here's a trivia question for you. 50, I'm pretty sure you know this. Actually, this is more for 50 because Ben hasn't reached this part yet. So the actress who plays Sister Jat in this episode, she appears again. As what character?
Sister Jet.
One of the nurses.
No,
One of
yeah.
the people.
I'm actually surprised you don't know this. So Sister Jat is played by Adjoa Ando, who reappears next season as Martha Jones's mother.
Really?
Nice.
Doctor Who is very well known for that, for taking
Or recycling actors. There's like an actor in there. I can't remember his name, but he's basically been there since the second Doctor era, just playing different background characters, almost always in mask and makeup. Still to this day.
I did not know that. You want me to read the synopsis for this, Ben?
Yeah.
Now, to keep in mind, this is the first official season episode of the series. The Doctor and Rose go to New Earth, the planet which humanity inhabited after the Earth's destruction by the sun, which we previously saw in Eccleston's season. Yes. What was the name of the episode again?
The End of the World.
Yes. They go into a hospital in New York, or as the Doctor says in reality, it'd be New York. Where Rose meets the villain Cassandra again. Cassandra possesses Rose's body as she is in need of one, but the Doctor is suspicious of Rose's actions. They discover that the hospital holds hundreds of artificially grown humans that have been infected with diseases, so the Sisters of Plenitude can find their cures. Rose releases several of the humans as a distraction, but they release others and a zombie-like attack begins. The Doctor sprays the infected humans with an intravenous solution using a disinfectant shower, curing them. The Doctor orders Cassandra out of Rose, but she transfers her consciousness into her server Chip, but his clone body fails and Cassandra accepts her death. Now, for me, the best part of this episode is David Tennant pretending to be Cassandra.
Yeah.
Too hot. Oh, baby, I'm beating out of Saba. I'm a man. Yum.
It kind of reminded me of that Smallville episode where the spirit possessed, who did he? Chloe, and then he possessed Clark.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah. You see David Tennant being a woman reminded me of Paul Rudd being a woman in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah. For me, it actually, the way he was playing it with the movements and stuff reminded me more of Jack Black from Jumanji.
Oh my God.
Nice. Wait, Tennant or Paul Rudd?
Tennant.
Yeah.
Although Paul Rudd was pretty good at playing at
Oh my God.
How did I get
Paul Rudd is awesome. Paul Rudd is awesome.
Paul Rudd is immortal. Paul Rudd is actually a Time Lord, ladies and gentlemen. He does not age.
That doesn't necessarily make him a Time Lord, though.
Yeah, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Fine, he's Captain Jack Harkness in reality.
There you go.
There you go.
Spoiler. But okay.
Okay, so that was your number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the next episode, Tooth and Claw.
Ooh.
That is honorable mention.
Yeah, I've always had a special affinity to this one because of it takes place in 1879 Scotland. Scotland. And it's the only time you ever hear David Tennant speak with his actual accent in the entire run of Doctor Who that he's been in.
It was a good episode, but to me it was a really good generic werewolf episode, if that makes sense.
I liked it mostly for Rose and for the Rose and Doctor's interaction, because they're meeting Queen Victoria. She's trying to get him to say "you, you're not amused." For me, it's the playfulness of the episode. The Doctor and Rose end up in Scotland in 1879, where Queen Victoria invites them to Torchwood Estate. Unknown to them, the estate has been captured by a group of monks who have brought a werewolf in hopes to infect Queen Victoria. The Doctor notices the trap and tries to shield himself, Victoria, and Rose from the werewolf. He learns that the estate was designed as a trap for the werewolf, as it contains a large telescope, which, with Victoria's Koh-i-Noor diamond and full moonlight, can force the werewolf into a human form. Though they save her, Queen Victoria is appalled by the Doctor and Rose Martin eccentricities and founds Torchwood Institute to defend Britain from further alien attacks. So this is the introduction of Torchwood into the series. This is the in-universe reasoning for why the royal family are hemophiliacs, which I think is a little fun. And the diamond is actually a real diamond.
Yeah, it's the diamond that's on Queen Elizabeth II's crown.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's an actual
The crown jewel, if you will.
It's one of the largest cut diamonds in the world, weighing 105.6 carats or 21 grams.
Right.
They say it's worth the wager of the entire planet for a whole week.
Damn, what we could do with that money?
Yeah, no
Too
kidding,
much.
eh? No, this is overall a fun episode. I always like the episodes where the Doctor interacts with historical figures.
Yeah.
And the actress they got to play Queen Victoria did a great job.
Who is the queen in... I've seen the movie, so I know it. Who's the queen in The Day of the Doctor?
That's Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
First.
Yeah, and in season 3, we get a fun little tease with her, and 50 knows what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. And
Absolutely. And also, fun fact, when the Doctor is asked who is he by the Scottish soldiers, he says I haven't even finished what I was going to say yet.
No,
he
that
says,
was me. I know what you're talking about, and I'm enthused about it. Sorry.
yeah, he calls himself Dr. James McCrimmon from the township of Balamory. James McCrimmon is the second Doctor's main companion, who's
From
been in
Balmoral.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the new Easter eggs that only...
Yeah, that's something that the Russell T. Davies era was doing great, throwing Easter eggs to the classic series, as opposed to something like Stephen Moffat, which is just throwing it in your face. I said it this last week, but Russell T. Davies was much more subtle with those references. But yeah, Jamie's one of my favorite companions overall, and easily my favorite.
This is something I noticed while watching this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, 50, but where the TARDIS lands in Scotland, does it not remind you of where we first see Jamie? This, like the settings, the hill, the sky behind me. I don't know. I kind of got
It's kind of hard because that episode, the Highlanders, it's one of the missing episodes. So you basically only get to see it in like
clip form. Yeah, because all I've ever seen is the clips. Because I have these things called the Doctor Uncovered, I believe they're called. But basically, it's like little mini histories of each Doctor, and they actually do show a clip from that episode. I just didn't realize it was a missing episode.
Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 episodes from that story that are actually there, but or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all the episodes are missing. It's just few random clips mixed in with the pictures and images and the audio. But yeah, for the most part, you don't really get to see where Jamie went. As a matter of fact, I don't even think you get to see Jamie in motion to like the second or third second Doctor story.
So let me ask you this. If you could go back in time, 50, would you smack the BBC and tell them to save these episodes?
For some of those episodes, it wasn't even their fault. Some of them just got destroyed in a fire.
Yeah.
That's why some clips survived.
But most of them is their fault.
Yeah, but most of them just got jumped. Whenever you have these episodes where like all episodes from a particular story are missing, it's because they threw them all in the garbage.
So you know what we're talking about then?
I heard some stuff, but I don't know the details.
So back, I don't know when they stopped doing this, but for many, many years, the BBC would erase their stock so they could reuse the tape. So that's why a lot of, especially early Doctor Who, is missing.
Oh wow, that sucks.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, they are doing a good job restoring them through animated episodes. And I haven't gotten a chance to watch most of them yet, but
they have found the occasional one, like in Brazil in an archive, and like they have found a few over time. But yeah, like
some of them at the time were sold to private collectors.
Yep.
You know,
who generously gave it back to the BBC.
You know, is that why it's not streaming anywhere?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Especially, it mostly happened to the black and white era
So
episodes.
the first two
Some
seasons
episodes
really.
from the John Pertwee era also had that treatment, but they survived in black and white form, which is kind of ironic. But
Yeah, it's most. Which one is missing the most? Is it Trouton or is it Hartnell?
it's probably Trouton. Yeah, a lot of the Hartnell era survived, but I'd say Trouton suffered the most from it.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It sucks whenever you want to go off do a full binge or rewatch of all the Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah,
which I might as well end up doing after we're done with this.
So, do we want to move into honorable mentions?
Yep.
And maybe even there's honorable mention for me.
Yes.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, so I have two. I have the Christmas special, the Christmas Invasion, and I have the Idiot's Lantern.
Hungry.
That's funny. One of mine is the Idiot's Lantern too.
Nice.
Tooth and Claw and Fear Her.
Yes, Fear Her is a good episode.
And this honorable mention, Aliens and Monsters. Oh no, wait.
Love and Monsters.
Love and Monsters. Yeah.
It's a strange one.
Yeah, and I was telling Ben this backstage on Mount Schmodown. Episode was kind of written by an 8-year-old. It was like a contest of writing scripts for Doctor Who, or rather treatments, I should say, and that 8-year-old won. And so they made it in his idea into an actual episode. And the Absorbaloff in the episode was designed by that particular 8-year-old.
And knowing that explains a whole lot about that episode.
Yeah, but these they had to do these episodes because production time at back then was so tight. They had to do an episode where they could only have Rose and the Doctor in a little bit. And they do this concept better going forward. This was like a misstep.
And the best example is in season 3, which we will get to that.
It's one of the best episodes they've ever done.
I want to get into this real quick. My problem with this episode isn't that the Doctor and Rose are not in it. I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
But the people they replaced it with are so fucking annoying and so meaningless that, yeah. Like, really?
They tried. They tried.
They did. Although the ending is a little weird. Like, I understand love is love, but come on.
You're in love with a brickhead.
Pretty much. Yeah, literally. Played by Moaning Myrtle.
Yep. And Babu Freak.
That's right. She's Babu Freak. That's right.
Hey, I'm Babu Freak.
One of very few actresses who've been in both Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who are the other ones?
I don't know. Like I said, we were having a long discussion about Harry Potter backstage on Mount Schmodown.
No, not in Star Wars, but Filch. Filch from Harry Potter is
he's the first Doctor now.
He's the first Doctor now, yeah.
Game of Thrones. He was on Game of Thrones. And Harry Potter.
Yeah, and there are other Easter eggs like these in the next couple of series. So I'm saving that for when Ben has a chance to watch them all.
I already know Capaldi shows up. I forget when, but I've seen that episode.
Okay.
Wait till we hit the Shakespeare Code.
Yeah.
Favorite line? What's your favorite line of that episode? 50. Mine is 57 professors just punched the air, or 57 scholars just punched the air.
The Shakespeare Code.
Yeah.
My favorite line in that episode, I can't say because it's a massive spoiler. So
okay, we'll definitely be talking about it next week because there's a lot of cool stuff in that episode. But anyways, Ben, what is your number one?
Oh, the important finale. I forget the first name, but Doomsday.
Army of Ghosts.
Army of Ghosts.
My God, I fucking love this episode. Excuse my language. But I'm counting it. I'm counting these two as one.
Me too. Whenever I break down the two-parters, I generally do the same as well.
The fight between Cyberman and Dialect. Oh my god, that's awesome. And seeing that
First time, by
Dialect,
the way, first time that the Daleks and Cybermen shared the screen together. Because, go ahead.
I was going to say I love the snarkiness back and forth between the two. They were kind of like one-upping each other in the
Pretty much.
and that scene with that dialect come shooting out of a prison. Oh my god. Talk about terrifying.
The CGI doesn't hold up, but yes, it is incredibly. The prospect is very terrifying, especially maybe when you find out they do Time Lord technology.
Oh my. So far, this might be my favorite episode in the show so far. I just loved it so much.
Just wait.
Oh yeah, it gets better. It really gets better.
But yeah, like I said, first time they were on screen together at the same time because they were in the same episode in the Five Doctors, but they never actually shared a screen with each other. And that was one of Russell T Davis's main points. It's like two of the Doctor's greatest enemies. How come they've never fought each other? And that's really the best thing that Russell T Davis was doing at the time. It was like he was just taking Doctor Who action figures and pitting them against each other like this.
Yeah, this whole time on the show was he was playing with his toys. And
yeah.
You know what it was like? Okay, stay with me here. It was kind of like C-3PO fighting R2-D2.
I mean, George Lucas kind of based their design on the Daleks and Cybermen, but yeah.
Oh no shit! I didn't know. I wasn't mentioning that.
Have you never noticed the similarities between the two?
No, I did. I never knew there was actually evidence of that.
George Lucas is a massive Doctor Who fan.
Yeah,
and even there's an episode from the John Pertwee era called Frontier in Space. I urge you to watch it because there's a scene in there which was basically recreated shot for shot in A New Hope. And it's the scene where Luke, 3PO, R2, and Ben are going across the desert in the sand crawler. Not the sand crawler, the sand speeder, sorry. 5 a.m. But it was basically recreated shot for shot in The New Hope from, that's the one. George Lucas basically took it from a scene where the Doctor and Joe are in a similar vehicle riding across the desert. There's a little hill. You see the legs of a creature, of a native of that planet. The camera switches to the native, and he just throws his hands up in the air, which George Lucas recreated with a Tusken Raider and a gaffy stick.
Interesting.
So, okay, the synopsis for this episode, because this was also my number 3. So, the first part in Army Ghost, the Doctor and Rose return to London and visit Jackie and learn that for a few months, the Earth has experienced silhouettes, which appear at a certain time each day around the world. The public have accepted these as ghosts. However, the Doctor thinks they are impressions of something forcing its way into the universe and tracks the source to the headquarters of a secret organization known as Torchwood. Torchwood's director, Yvonne Hartman, reveals that the ghosts are a result of a breach in the universe where a spherical void ship kept at Torchwood has arrived. 3 employees of Torchwood are manipulated to open the breach, which breaks down and causes millions of the ghosts to appear worldwide and shift into their true form of the Cybermen from the parallel universe. However, the Cybermen merely followed the void ship through the breach, and the ship is revealed to contain 4 Daleks. The 4 Daleks, later identified as the Cult of Skaro, have brought a device known as the Genesis Arc throughout the breach and declare war on the Cybermen, and the 2 races begin fighting worldwide. Meanwhile, the Doctor has discovered that Jake Simmons, Pete Tyler, and Mickey, who masqueraded as a Torchwood employee and is with Rose and the Daleks, have been able to travel between the universes. The Cult of Skaro is keeping Rose and Mickey alive because they, being time travelers, would activate the Genesis Arc, which the Daleks are incapable of as it is stolen. Time Lord technology. The Doctor plans to open the breach, which will pull in anyone who has crossed the void, including the Daleks, Cybermen, and Rose's family, and then close the breach. Rose refuses to reside in the parallel universe and stays to help the Doctor, but she is unable to hold on and becomes marooned in the parallel universe. The Doctor is able to transmit his image through one of the final breaches, and the two share a tearful goodbye before a mysterious woman in a wedding dress appears in the TARDIS. In terms of farewells, this is one of the best ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
this got me.
Yeah.
This got me so hard.
Yeah, you messaged me right after you finished it, yeah.
It is like, wow. I loved it. I love this
Yeah.
episode.
I ranted a bunch of times last time about the way Stephen Moffat chose to end certain storylines in the Matt Smith / Peter Capaldi era. This episode is how you do that the right way, the proper way. Like you said, with the farewell, with the Doctor not being able to finish his sentence. Full spoilers. They kind of go back to this later in the David Tennant era, which again, it's a great proof of how to wrap up everything in a neat little bow, and doing it in a subtle way, which is the Russell T Davies way of doing things, as opposed to the Stephen Moffat version.
You're not a Muffin fan, are you?
I love Stephen Moffat. He's made some of the best Doctor Who storylines of all time,
and created some of the best characters as well.
Yeah, it's just sometimes he doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to stop. It's like we mentioned earlier with Russell T Davies basically taking a bunch of Doctor Who action figures and making them fight each other.
Yeah.
In the Stephen Moffat era, sometimes it felt like he didn't just take a couple of action figures. He just threw the entire toy box into the same place and made everyone fight each other. Which great fun and it's great spectacle. Doesn't always make for a great story.
It kind of reminds, the way you're describing it, kind of reminds me of George Lucas again, because say what you want about Lucas, he created all these characters that we still love to this day, but yeah, he just didn't know when to stop, and it sounds like Muppet is the same thing.
Which is why I always say it's a good thing that George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, because say what you will about the new Star Wars, George Lucas, like you said, he didn't know when to stop, and sometimes it's best for creators, especially creators on the level of George Lucas, when you take that kind of limitless control away from them and give it to other people, some people who might be able to tell the stories better. And I'm not saying that the new Star Wars movies are better. It's just that some of them especially are more controlled. Someone like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau know how to take Lucas's massive, creative, expansive universe and tell stories with them that don't.
Moffat was a better writer for the series than he was a showrunner. And like I've said multiple times, the Matt Smith era is my favorite era. But even I have to admit that there are some moments where you scratch your head and go, what?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, so my number one is the punt from earlier. It is arguably, I'd say, one of the Whodom's favorite episodes. I would say 58.
Yep.
School reunion.
Yeah, that's your number one.
Oh, I love this episode because it's the best. You know what it reminds me of? The Force Awakens. You're getting new while paying homage to the old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Doctor works undercover as a teacher in a school, which Mickey believes is suspicious. Rose, working as a dinner lady, or as we call them on this side of the pond, lunch ladies, notices the cafeteria's chips, or as we call them on this side of the pond, fries, have an adverse effect on other members of the kitchen staff. While the Doctor notes the chips seem to make the students more intelligent. The success of Headmaster Mr. Finch has aroused media attention. Investigative journalists and the Doctor's former companion, Sarah Jane Smith, arrives at the school and discovers the TARDIS. She and her robotic dog K9 join up with the Dr. Rose and Mickey, and they discover that the teachers are actually krillitanes, and the chips are coated with krillitane oil, intended to make the children smart enough so they can decode the Skasis paradigm. Skasis paradigm, a theory of everything which will give the krillitanes full control of time and space. The Doctor refuses to join the krillitanes and evacuates the children, after which K9 detonates the container of the chip oil, which destroys the krillitanes, the school, and K9. Sarah Jane declines the Doctor's offer to travel with him and suggests that Mickey does so instead, and the Doctor gives her a brand new model of K9. Okay, 50. What is your favorite moment of this episode?
Favorite moment of the episode? Probably when Sarah Jane and the Doctor meet for the first time.
Yes, that's my number one as well.
Yeah, not necessarily when she figures out he's the Doctor, but rather when he meets her for the first time. First of all, they get to see David Tennant's reaction to a woman he worshipped as a child when he watched the Tom Baker era, but also the Doctor reuniting with Sarah Jane Smith, the woman he used to travel with. She's one of the, I believe she's the longest running companion of all time, because not only she traveled for like 3 seasons with 2 different Doctors, she came back and interacted with like 5 of the. She came back in the 5 Doctors, and obviously she came back for the 10th Doctor era and the Matt Smith era. She kind of ran into like 8 or 9 out of the possible 15 Doctors.
Yeah, she's not the first, but she's definitely the archetype for what a good companion is.
Yeah,
because not a lot of Who fans have seen the old Who, but if you ask them to name a classic Who companion, 9 times out of 10 they're going to name Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah,
I would mean that 10. I had no idea who this character was.
Yeah, but I was gonna say you're gonna be one of those people who are going to mention Sarah Jane Smith, but it's not because she's the only one people think about because they brought her back in this episode. It's just because she's straight up one of the best.
Yeah.
If you want those older series.
That's why I said she's the archetype for what a good companion is in Doctor Who.
And the funny thing is, they never explicitly explain in those classic episodes why the Doctor never came back for her. He just never did. But
did here.
Yeah, and in the episode where she leaves, which is the Hand of Evil, the Doctor says he's gonna leave her behind and come back for her, but the entire episode treats this as a farewell, like he's not coming back. And also in that episode, she kind of almost dies because of him. So there's that. She gets crushed by a massive mountain that falls on her. But go ahead.
You ever see her again?
50. Do you want to take it away?
Should I mention though? I mean,
I got one word. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. But mainly. After this, she got her own show.
Yeah, she got a spin-off that Tennant appeared in, and Matt Smith also appeared in as well. Yeah. Easily the best stuff of this episode is anything involving the Doctor and Sarah Jane, because the Doctor is seeing an old friend, but Tennant is playing it as he's the world's biggest fan. Like, this is somebody he grew up loving. And so all that emotion that you see on his face when he first sees her is all legit. Yeah. That's David Tennant shining through.
Yeah. Not the Doctor necessarily.
Yeah.
Seeing all the Sarah Jane stuff in the classic series, seeing all of the new Sarah Jane stuff in her show, and also knowing how she tragically passed away from cancer while filming the final season, it was a surge of emotions when I watched it last night, and that was the main episode I cried at the most in my rewatch.
Whenever she appears on screen, like I'm gonna say it, I've never seen any of her old stuff, but I am very well aware of her place in Whodom, and so whenever she pops up, I can't help but smile.
Yeah, me too, and it was tears of joy and also slightly sadness because of the story itself, the Doctor leaving her behind on Aberdeen, apparently.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, funny joke. He says he's going to leave her on Croydon in the end of that episode where he leaves her behind. And in that episode, she's like, wait, this isn't Croydon. That's not Croydon. He did that again. He landed in the wrong place. No one knew where he left her until that episode aired, where she finally reveals that he left her on Aberdeen.
Jesus, what a dick.
No, but just the fans, people waited decades to know where she was.
I'm surprised I never really touched on that before. It's a little bit of a trivia thing for you. So the scene where the doctor enters the computer room and both Sarah Jane and Rose are laughing at him. Do you know how they got that laugh?
No.
Nope.
David Tennant walked in with a giant-ass mustache painted on his face.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
So the point in laugh is because they were reacting to David Tennant with a fake mustache.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love David Tennant.
Oh, yeah.
He's great in everything. I love him as Martin Cranston Jr., and I love him as Kilgrave, and now I love him as the Doctor.
Just wait until he interacts with Captain Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait
Yeah.
for that.
And on that note, because it is next season, we're going to end the discussion right there. Because season 3, man, a lot of people don't talk about Martha Jones in the same light as a Rose Tyler.
Tragically
and Sarah Jane
underrated.
Smith. Tragically, because I think her series, I should say, is the most consistently good.
Yeah. And I honestly, years ago, I would have said the opposite, but now I genuinely believe this. She's the best David Tennant companion.
Agreed. Like, I mean, my favorite's Donna, but Martha is the best one, hands down. And the way the 3 Tennant companions are described is Rose is the true love, Martha is the unrequited love, and Donna is the best friend.
Yeah.
Well, from what I saw of Nanda in the Christmas special,
Yeah, that was her at the end of Doomsday.
Yeah.
Played by the great
Yeah.
Catherine Tate.
Which can you right away. Unlike the majority of the Doctor Who audience, I first saw Catherine Tate on The Office.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the other way around.
She is. I think she has the. I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I think Donna Noble has the best progression in terms of character.
Not ruin anything. I mean,
No. I'm not. I'm just saying, like she ends up. She might end up being one of your favorites.
mhm,
She will
fine.
surprise you. And on that, 50 Shades of Torchwood. Where can everybody find you?
I thought we were going my top 5.
Yeah.
Shit, sorry, I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna new format, folks. Now 50's gonna reveal his top 5. We're gonna see who was closest, Ben or myself. So 50, what is your
You
number?
want me
5?
to go 5 to 1 or 1 to
Yeah.
5?
Count it down 5 to 1.
Okay, so my number 5. Hold on, I had it just a second ago. It was the Christmas Invasion.
Okay.
Okay.
It was you get introduced to the Doctor. You get introduced to whole new. Is it the first time you get to see the effects of regeneration? And I'm counting the old who into this. We get and it sets up a lot of different stuff for Torchwood, but also for season 3, which Ben, you were going to get to that soon. My number 4, I'm surprised didn't appear in either one of your lists, but it's The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
It was good. It just, I don't know, just felt a little off for me, but it was a good episode.
Yeah.
It's whenever we get to storylines that have to deal with the Doctor confronting gods and demons and overcoming them, and this idea that perhaps maybe the Doctor is the absolute answer to religion and certain civilizations, those happen to be my favorite storylines. And this episode tackles that in a big way. And who knows? Maybe the devil is just an idea that came from somewhere in deep space. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, my number 3, New Earth. First episode I ever saw of the show.
Right.
Just like you said earlier with The Force Awakens, it pays homage to the old by bringing in Cassandra, but it also shows us the progression and teases some stuff that happens in season 3 with the face of Bo. And also, I guess I should have said it earlier when we were talking about the episode, but it's officially the third time the Doctor Who universe tackled the idea of a new Earth after this one ends, because it happened first in the first Doctor era, an episode called The Ark, which is where we actually get to see the Earth just get destroyed for the first time in Doctor Who, and the first optional planet to replace planet Earth, Refucius, I believe. And then we see it again in a fifth Doctor episode called Frontius, which is I always like to say that the human race kind of went through several different planets before settling on New Earth. That's the way my headcanon works. But yeah, that's my number 3. My number 2, School Reunion. Years ago, I probably wouldn't have had it as high as I do now. But now, being older, having watched all of the classic Doctor Who stuff, all of the Sarah Jane adventures, and obviously the tragic passing of Elizabeth Sladen, I put it much, much higher for the emotions it was able to get out of me last night when I watched it. And obviously, number 1, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday.
So, that is your number 1. So I'm going to give that to Ben because you guys had the same number 1. We both each had 2 that were the same on the list, but because Ben and you have the same number 1, Ben wins this round.
Yeah.
Victory!
Yeah.
And your winner!
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So on that note...
Also, can I just say, the weapon in the Christmas invasion that destroys the Sycorax, doesn't that kind of remind you of the Death Star?
Kind of.
Yeah,
The green beam that shoot from multiple areas converging in one place to form a much larger beam.
Yeah.
It's basically, they turned Earth into the Death Star in that episode.
Yeah, yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
And of course, that episode ends with just 5 words. Does she look tired? I can't remember
6 words. Don't you think she looks tired?
Looks tired to you, yes.
Was that Elkington or was that Tennant?
What? That line?
Yeah.
No, that's Tennant. That's at the end of the Christmas invasion.
Right.
After Harriet Jones, Prime Minister. Yes, we know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
I love that running joke, by the way.
Me too.
Well, because it's a funny joke, but B, because it actually ties into her first appearance.
Because she kept introducing herself because no one knew who she was.
Well, no, not just that. At the very end, after like all the deaths that happened, she says, "I didn't even know that guy's name." So now she's making sure she knows, or at least tries to get a name for everybody. That's what I had read. That's why they did that.
Oh, I really going to say something funny.
But it was funny when the aliens was like, "Yes, we know who you are."
Yeah, and they said it in Sycorax language, and then they translated it.
Man, yeah, it was great.
Okay. So 50 Shades of Torchwood. When you're not saving the world alongside the Doctor, where can we find you?
I wish. You can find me on my channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me occasionally on Twitch, 50 Shades O Geek without the F. I'm playing Lego Harry Potter while also building some Lego Harry Potter sets in preparation for a trivia match that I've got on coming up on the Outlaw Nation League, which is on the John Roca Patreon. And you can also find me with these wonderful people every week, every Saturday on Get Sweaty on this channel right here, and recapping Doctor Who. For the moment, I don't know how many seasons we're going to go into this thing, but I'm having fun. I'm rewatching my favorite show of all time and getting to talk about it with two people who just get it.
I think we're going to go right up until the end of Whittaker.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. Because I wasn't sure. I think when we first considered it, we were talking about just the end of Capaldi. But going all the way to Whittaker, that's great.
Well, yeah, because at that time,
we need to rewatch those.
At the time, it hadn't been announced that Whittaker was leaving, and by the time we get to her, I think she'll be gone. She'll be done.
Yeah.
So I mean, it only makes.
You want to see that final series.
And okay, the Doctor. When you're not traveling through time and space with your lovely companion in 50 Shades of Torchwood, where can everybody find you?
Thank you.
What?
I think broke Ben.
Yes, I did.
Go get the sonic screwdriver and fix
You
it.
may have won the game, but I won the what you call it.
You guys can find me at my Twitter at @min_radio. You can find me all over this channel. Get ready, melt the snow down, shooting the breeze. Anywhere else they need me, I'm here. I think that's everything. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yep.
Matt, what about you?
You can find me on at soda_the_saxman on my personal Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on every goddamn show on this channel. You could also find me over on, as well as 50 and Ben over on the Outlaw Nation Trivia League. So definitely check
The
us all out.
Sweaty Boys.
Yes, we are part of the Sweaty Boys. Yes, and I am sweating right now, so it's very appropriate. So on behalf of the three of us, as we go and we venture once more into the Doctor and his adventures, we will see you next week when we discuss Martha Jones's season of Doctor Who.
I'm hearing me fantastic.
Oh,
Absolutely fantastic.
oh, it's beautiful. We'll see you next week, guys. Stay sweaty.